Good YouTube. Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that rundown analysis. This is where I talk about every team from top to bottom and give y'all some quick analysis on how I feel about the teams, what they've been doing right and wrong, and just going about how the season has been for them. And the Detroit Pistons, we're going to start with the Eastern Conference like we usually do, are number one in the East. They're 16-4 as the recording of this video. They're 7-2 at home, 8-2 on the road, 4-2 in their division, 12-4 in the conference, and they one of the best scoring teams in the league. And they also on a 1-game win streak, and they're 8-2 in their last 10. They have been a huge surprise. Cade Cunningham has become a superstar, one of the best guards in the league, one of the best playmakers in the league, one of the best scorers in the league. And his teammates have picked up their part. Tobias has been really good from mid-range and from three. Jalen Duren has been dominating the paint and rebounding real well and protecting the rim better. Jaden Ivey is back, and he's getting buckets, and we're going to see how he plays. Ausar Thompson is still one of the best defenders in the league, and you just have a group of guys that really wants to go out there and scrap, fight, and claw their way to victory, and they just showing you that you can do it the tough way. Some of their games are not the greatest looking games, but they find out a way to get on top and stay on top to be able to win. I mean, only 4 losses is really, really impressive, and I love what they have been doing on both sides of the court, and they have really come to play this season. Duncan Robinson hasn't been the greatest addition, but he's starting to figure things out a little bit more and fitting a little bit better too. But other than that, I'm really, really happy for the Pistons. I'm really, really happy how their season is going. And they went from being one of the worst teams in the league to one of the best ones. And that's one of the best stories of the season. The Knicks, we all expected them to be good. We all expected them to be one of the best teams in the East. We all expected them to be a top 4 team in the East. And they're backing it up. 13-6. They're on a 68 win percentage. They only 2.5 game back from the Pistons. They're 10-1 at home. That's really good. But they're only 3-5 on the road. But they also 4-0 in the division. That's impressive. And 10-6 in the conference, showing you that they're one of the best in the conference, as we do that they should be. They have won 4 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Mikal has been really good defensively, scoring wise. Karl-Anthony Towns has been what he normally does, and Jalen Brunson has been unstoppable and unguardable, and still finding ways to let his teammates do a little bit more while not sacrificing what he does, which is score the basketball at a high level. They have a better bench, and guys have really carried their weight and played well. Jordan Clarkson and those guys are still figuring things out. Shamet has had good games too. And I'm just liking Mitch Robinson just gobbling up boards, just being a big, strong physical presence for them. Josh Hart has been filling up the stat sheet off the bench and pushing the pace and pushing the tempo. This team isn't missing much, but they still have shown that they're one of the better teams in the NBA, one of the better teams in the East. Toronto is also off to a start that a lot of people didn't expect. They're 14-7. They have a 66% win percentage. They also 7-2 at home. They also 2.5 games back from the Pistons. They're 7-5 on the road, 3-2 in the division, 13-4 in the conference, showing you that they're one of the best teams in the East and has been so far all season. They also lost their last 2, which is bad, but they still finished 8-2 in their last 10, which is one of the best records in the league. And the Raptors, Scotty Barnes has been really good for them. Brandon Ingram finally has played, and he fits right in with his ability to shoot and score and get to the basket. RJ Barrett doesn't have to do much for that reason. Neither does Emmanuel Quickly, but they give you the attack that you need because they can get to the basket, they can pass, they can hit threes from time to time, and Quickly can push the pace and the tempo and get to floaters and pull up threes and get to the basket all the way there and get to the free throw line. So they're not really missing nothing offensively. Pirtle has been a guy that can protect the rim and rebound. and be able to, stay out the way in the offense. And I like what they've been doing this entire season, and their bench has been solid too. And you just want to see if they can keep it up. Miami Heat, Tyler Hero is finally back. Andrew Wiggins is back. Bam Adebayo is back. Norman Powell has been exactly what they needed. And they have a 13-7 record. They are at a 65% win rate right now. They're 3 games behind Detroit. They're 9-2 at home, but 4-5 on the road, and 2-1 in their division. But they're also 8-4 in their conference, which is really good. They also lost their last game, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. They have been one of the best teams in the NBA. Eric Spoelstra, he said, "Give me some talent, and I can give you wins." And that's all Pat Riley has to do, is continue to give them some competitive players, and he'll figure out the rest. He'll get them to play defense. He'll get them to score. He'll figure out how to use them the best way that he can, and that's what his coach is supposed to do. Then Eric Spoelstra has been able to figure it out, and this team has one of the best starting lineups in the league, so I can see why they're winning a lot of games. But they also getting production from guys like Jaime Jaquez off the bench. Khalil Ware can start or come off the bench, and he's been able to have a good imprint on this team too, on both ends of the court. And they have more guys that can do a lot more too, and we just have to see it, as the season continues to go on. Atlanta Hawks, they're 13-8. No Trae Young the last couple of weeks. No problem. They still above 500. They still been winning games. They're 3.5 games back from the Detroit Pistons. They're 4-4 at home, 9-4 on the road, 3-1 in the division, 7-6 in the conference. They also won their last 2. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they needed that to be able to have a positive record and have a record that they can really say, well, Porzingis been out a lot. We've been missing all types of guys. That's important to what we're trying to build and what we're trying to do this season. But it hasn't been a reason for us not to be able to win games. Jalen Johnson has been playing at an MVP type level. The way he's been attacking, the way he's keeping his teammates involved. And Yeka Okongwu has been a perfect role player, knowing where to be at on the court and always being ready to score and just make the right play. And then you got guys like Nickeil has been a really, really good scorer for them, but he also showing that he can defend a little bit and play make. So you have to be happy with that, because that was one of the additions that you brought in the off season to switch things up a little bit, and it has helped because he gives them another guy that can do things offensively that the other guys on the roster just can't do. And that's what he feels, that void that they had in the offseason, and now he's showing you that it was worth it. Other than that, the Hawks, they have been good, and I haven't had no problems with them. They're a fun team to watch too. The Orlando Magic, 12-8 right now. They got off to a rocky start, then they started figuring things out. Even though Paulo's been out the last couple of games, they still been winning. They won their last 2. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They got a 60% win percentage right now. They're 4 games behind the Pistons. They're 7-3 at home, 5-5 on the road, 3-2 in their division, and 9-7 in their conference. Still showing you that they're one of the best teams in the East. Franz has been getting to the basket, been unstoppable. Bane has been becoming a better fit in Orlando with his handling and his 3-point shooting and his ability to get to the basket. And Jalen Suggs has become one of the better perimeter defenders again, and a guy that can hit threes and also put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. And then obviously Wendell is still showing you that he can finish in the paint and hit threes and be a guy that can help his teammates get good looks. And Anthony Black has been really good off the bench, shooting the ball a little bit better than he normally does, and also hitting the threes, and also still using his size to get to the basket and get to the free throw line. So they main important pieces have been doing what they're supposed to do and been playing at a good level. Jonathan Isaac need to do a little bit more, and then they'll be even better because of that. Tyus Jones, I haven't been the greatest player for him just yet, but we'll see what he can do as the season continues to go on. Other than that, the Cavaliers are 7th in the East right now as the recording of this video. They're 12-9, 57% from the field, 57% when it comes to their record. They're 4.5 games back from the Pistons. They're 8-4 at home, 4-5 on the road, 5-0 in the division, and 10-8 in the conference. and they also lost their last three, so they're 5-5 in their last 10. In the last game, and you just look at it like, man, this Cavaliers team has been figured out. People know what they're trying to do. People know how to play against them. People have seen that much hasn't changed, for what they was doing last year. And also, Darius Garland has missed a lot of games this season, and Jared Allen has missed a lot of games, so they haven't really had their starting five out there enough against the competition that they've been going against, and that's been one of the biggest reasons why their record just don't look that great, especially compared to last year. And then Donovan Mitchell is going out there doing all he can offensively, and other guys are just off the court, or they just injured, or they just not playing the way that they need to right now to show that they're one of the best teams in the East. That's why they're seventh and not in the top four, because they just haven't played that great on offense or defense when it comes to being able to have a way to win the games. They just don't have one yet, and I think they'll start figuring it out, but just not right now. The Celtics, they have figured out what they are, and they just go out there and play the best that they can, and it allowed them to get 11 and a 9 record. They have a 55% percentage win on their win record, so they're above 500. They also have 5 games. They also is 5 games behind the Pistons. They also 6-4 at home and 5-5 away, which is the road. And 2-4 in the division, 8-6 in the conference. They also won their last game, so they 7-3 also in their last 10 games. And I love it as a Celtics fan. I knew we was gonna have a tough season. I knew it was gonna be hard. I knew that people were gonna doubt us. People were gonna question us. But everything has been good enough for us to continue to be having a purpose for this season, and we want to prove that we're not going to give up. We're not going to quit. We're not going to cave in, and we're going to go out there and compete and do the best we can as a team to beat who's out there and whoever's in front of us. And I feel like that's all we try to do. We try to take it game by game, possession by possession, and we don't try to do anything crazy but shoot threes. And if the threes are falling, our defense is there on the perimeter and in the paint sometimes, we'll be able to just match up against anybody and have a shooter's chance and or a puncher's chance. And that's all you really need to be able to win games. Stay in them, keep close, or just make shots timely, and you can pull out wins just like we did yesterday. Philadelphia 76ers 10-9. They're 52 win percentage. 5.5 games back from the Pistons. 5-6 on at home. 5-3 on the road. 5-2 in the division, and 9-9 in the conference. They lost their last game. They're now 4-6. They should be just happy that they're above 500, because they also have had a lot of players out and about and not on the court enough. Then they try to find a way to put them back inside the system and try to find a way to win with those guys, find a way to get those guys the shots and the opportunities they want. Plus, they still got to figure out how to keep the guys that have been helping them stay above 500, getting their touches and getting their shine, while also, playing as a team. That's been the hard thing, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, what they are, because they just have too many guys that doesn't play consistently enough or always out. So for them to be above 500 with the roster frustration, things that have been going on with them, that's a really good thing to have. Like, man, we really haven't been playing our best basketball, and we really haven't had an opportunity to do so, and teams are still having a hard time beating us. They have to be happy about that, but that's really showing you that they're not contenders, and they won't be winning a championship this year, but they might take up a playoff spot and give a team a little bit of trouble if it goes like that. The Chicago Bulls, they're 9-10. They're below 500 now. They have a 47 win percentage. They're 6.5 games back from Detroit. They're 6-2 at home, 3 of 8 on the road, and they also 1-4 from in the division, and 6-7 in the conference. They also lost their last 3, and they're 3-7 in the last 10. They got off to a really, really good start. A lot of people thought that they'd be a playoff team, and they still can make it, and they still have a chance to. But, man, they've been losing a lot of games. They haven't been able to score enough points. They haven't been able to get enough stops. They haven't been able to make those little runs that get them ahead. They help them close out games. Giddy still has been playing like all star. Kobe White has been good since he's been back. Vucevic has been a good, support player for them when it comes to giving them space, giving them first steps, and giving them floaters, threes, and finishes around the rim while rebounding the basketball too. And then Matas, he seems like he hasn't taken that leap. He seemed like he was good. He looked like he was even getting better, and then he cooled down a little bit too in this season. And then the role players off the bench, they've been good sometimes, but sometimes they haven't really done enough to keep them ahead and keep them winning or keep them having a chance of getting back in the game. But it happens like that. Every team wants to win. That's what makes it tough. That's what makes it hard. And the Bulls are just going through their time of losing after going through their times of winning. But it's an 82 game season, so they still have a long ride to be able to get back to where they want to be. They showed you that they can do it. They just got to get back to winning. It ain't going to be easy, but they have to just continue to go and continue to fight as much as they can with what they have, like they've been doing. Milwaukee Bucks 9-12, 42% win percentage, 7.5 games back from the Pistons. They're 6-6 at home, 3-6 on the road, 2-3 in the division, and 7-8 in the conference. And they're on a 1 game win streak. They're 2-8 in their last 10, mainly because Giannis. If Giannis doesn't play and he's not dominating, they don't have a chance of winning. This is a team where they have good supporter, Bobby Portis, Miles Turner. Ryan Rollins has been having some big games, and then he has been having some good games, and then he's been having some okay games. Gary Trent Jr. and AJ Green, they've been hit or miss sometimes, but they still showing that they can knock down threes, and that's what they out there for mainly. And then they're still missing Kevin Porter Jr. They need him, and since he's back, almost you still got to see if he's going to be able to, help this team have more firepower. Cole Anthony has been a good boost off the bench in some games. He hasn't been in some other ones. So they haven't really had the consistent help from the role players. Kyle Kuzma give you a couple big games. He's been good this year compared to last year, and you're going to continue to need that from him. But they got a good roster. They're good enough to be a playoff team. But Giannis has to be dominant every night and be a guy that allows his teammates to do what they can do on both ends of the court too. And that's what you have to do. You got to live with the decision that these are your teammates. This is as good as it's going to get most likely. And I got to find a way to encourage them and help them be as good as they can be. And that's what superstars do. And he also got to carry his load too. And he got to do it on both ends of the court. And that's the best way to set the example for your teammates to follow with you. And the coach should want that to happen too. And Doc Rivers have been known for having good defenses and good execution for role players. So it's been working, but it also hasn't been because Giannis is a big part of what they do. So if he's not healthy enough this season, they could finish below 500. And right now they're not even in a play-in spot. So they didn't expect that to be the case, but it's reality for them now. Charlotte Hornets, they're 6-14. They have a 30 win percentage. They're 10 games behind Detroit. They're 5-6 at home. They're 1-8 on the road, 1-4 in the division, 5-9 in the conference. They won their last 2 games. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They just have had a lot of injuries. LaMelo's been out. Brandon Miller's been out. They've been having young players come in like Colin Knippel and obviously Ryan. They're still trying to help them out. They're still trying to fit them in. Those guys have played great for rookies. And then Colin Sexton has been able to put his imprint on the team with shooting the threes and handling the ball and playing a little bit of defense. And they have been good, but they have been able to put it together because of the injuries. And we have to see them healthy to see what they really are and what they're really going to be as a team. Indiana Pacers, they haven't had enough help. They haven't had enough guys healthy either. TJ missed games and Benedict Mathurin missed games. They don't have Tyrese Halliburton, and then Pascal has been able to do what he needs to do, but it hasn't been enough to beat teams because they just haven't had enough guys that can do a lot. And now that they're getting them back, they're showing you that they can be more competitive and they can win games now. They're 4-16. They're 12 games back from the Pistons. They're 4-6 at home. They're also 0-10 on the road and 1-4 in the division and 3-8 in the conference. And then they also won their last two, so they're 3-7 in their last 10. But if they didn't have the injuries early in the season, they probably would have won more games. But now they're looking like their season is done and it's over. They're going to have to go on a massive win streak to correct this season. But I just don't see that happening. The Brooklyn Nets, they just don't have enough talent. They just don't have enough scoring. Michael Porter and Cam Thomas, if those guys are making shots or making plays, they're not going to really do much. They're not going to really be much. And they're not a great defensive team either. So they're just playing the game to grow and develop and see what their young guys need to be working on and what they need help on to become better players in the future. But right now they're 3-16, 100. They have a 15 win percentage, 12 and a half games behind the Pistons. They're 0-9 at home. They're 3-7 on the road, 1-7 in the division, and 3-13 in the conference. And they also lost their last 4 games, and they're 2-8 in their last 10. And then the Washington Wizards, they have won 2 games and lost 16. They have 11 win percentage, 13 games back from the Pistons. They're 1-6 on at home, 1-10 on the road, 1-2 in the division, 1-12 in the conference. And they also lost their last game, and they're 1-9 in their last 10. They also have had guys in and out of the lineup like Chris Middleton and guys that's younger, but they just don't have enough offense. They struggle scoring the basketball against good teams, and that's been something that has hurted them because they let teams score easily on them, and that's how they've been getting beat or blown out. They just show that they can put some numbers up, and they just can't do it consistently, and they just can't do it enough to be able to win games because they don't get enough stops and they just can't make enough plays. But young teams are usually like that. They're still trying to figure out what they can do and what they can't do and what they should be doing, what they need to do. But since they got to do that every single game against a different team, it usually helps them lose, and that just piles up, and then they have a bad record. Now the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder only lost 1 game. They have won 20 games, and they have a 95% win rate and win percentage, and they also 10-0 at home. They also 10-1 on the road, 4-1 in the division, and 16-1 in the conference. Their only loss was to the Portland Trail Blazers. Other than that, they have won 12 in a row, and they are now 10-0 in their last 10. Nobody has done that but the Thunder. So this month, at the start of this month, they had the longest win streak right now. They have been great defensively. They just got back Jalen Williams. They have had Shea playing at an MVP level. Chet is one of the best defenders in the league. They have been moving the ball, collapsing defenses, attacking the paint, letting Shea shine in fourth quarters. And guys have known their roles, know what they're out there to do, know what they should be doing, and they're doing it on both ends of the court. And that's why they have won so many games this year without losing really at all. The Los Angeles Lakers, they have been romping teams too. They have been a tough team to defend and a tough team to cover with or without LeBron James, and Luka has been dominating the game at an MVP level. 15 wins, 4 losses. They have a 78 win percentage, and they're 4 games behind the Thunder. They're 7-2 at home, 8-2 on the road. It's 2-1 in the division, 12-3 in the conference, and they have won their last 7 games, and they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Rockets have had guys in and out, and they haven't had Fred VanVleet, but no problem. They 13-4 record-wise, and they have a 76 win percentage. They have won their last 5. They have went 5-2 at home, 8-2 on the road, 2-1 in the division, 6-3 in the conference, and they have won 3 in a row. So they finished 8-2 in their last 10. They have really been a good team defensively. Jabari Smith has been a good fit. He's been able to use his size to get to the basket, hit a 3. Amen Thompson is still hitting all types of shots. Now he's not afraid to take them. And on top of that, he's been still a defender that can catch you out of nowhere or strip you or play in the passing lanes and get you, or he can also block you when you don't expect it. Kevin Durant has still been one of the best scorers in the game. Alperen Sengun been showing his playmaking chops, while still posting up, while still trying to knock down shots from the perimeter and finish. Clint Capella, Steven Adams, and those guys are crashing the boards, and so is Şengün. And then you realize they play hard, they defend well, they score well, and that's why they one of the best teams in the NBA. Denver Nuggets, they slid a little bit. They're the fourth best team right now in record wise in the Western Conference. 14 wins, 5 losses, 73 win percentage, 5 games behind the Thunder. They're 6-3 at home, 8-2 on the road, 2-1 in the division, 12-4 in the conference. They won their last game. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Jokic has been the MVP candidate, dominant. Jamal Murray is having one of his better seasons. We have to see how it continues to go. They have had guys out like Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun, but they just plug in other guys to do similar things, and they just continue to win because of that. It's not that hard for them to dominate their opponents just because they're just that good of a team offensively. They're hard to stop. They're hard to continue to score on defensively, and they just continue to out execute teams without working too hard doing it. And that's how they have been so good for years. And this is just another year of them being great. The San Antonio Spurs, no Wemby, but they still have been winning. They're still above 500. 13 wins, 6 losses. They have a 68 win percentage. They have been 6 games behind the Thunder. They also 8-2 at home, 5-4 on the road, and 5-0 in the division, 8-6 in the conference. They lost their last game, and they're 6-4 in their last 10. So they still been above 500. They still been surviving. Fox has been a real revelation for him because he can step up in clutch moments, hit the mid-range, hit the three, get to the basket, and collapse the defense and find shooters like Harrison Barnes and things like that. But they have also had a fair share of injuries that they've been battling, but they haven't used that as an excuse. They just been having other guys step up and play well, and they just have been a really, really good team. And this is what they should have been, and this is what they are now. So if you're a Spurs fan, you should be happy with where they're at. Even with guys being in and out, they still been winning basketball games. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, 12-8, 12 wins, 8 losses. They have a 60% win percentage. They're 7.5 games behind the Thunder. They're 7-3 at home, 5-5 on the road, 3-3 in the division, 7-7 in the conference. They won their last 2, so they're above 500 in their last 10 games because they're 6-4. Anthony Edwards and them have really been stepping up a little bit more, but they have been a team that where you look at and say, well, they're good. We have to go out there and try to beat them. They haven't really been dominant. They haven't really been blowing your mind or doing anything crazy this year. They just been out there winning against the teams they should be winning against mainly, and just trying to find a way to stay, competitive in the other games against other teams that's on their level or a little higher. And that's all you can really want from them. And that's what they've been able to be and do this year. The Phoenix Suns, 12-9, 57% from their wins, so that's a 57 win percentage. 8 games back behind the Thunder, 8-4 at home, 4-5 on the road, and 4-2 in the division, 11-8 in the conference. They lost their last 2 games, but they're still 6-4. They've been going against a lot of tougher competition, and their record is starting to get beat up a little bit. But they still have been a really competitive team. They really have been fun. They shoot the three well. They handle the ball well. They can knock down layups. They can get mid ranges to go. They can create some transition opportunities, and they have just played good fundamental basketball, and that has kept them winning even against some of the tougher teams. They have been giving good competition against them, and all you can do is go out there and do your best and try your best and live with the result, and that's what the Phoenix Suns have been doing. Number 8, the Golden State Warriors. They're 11-10. They have a 52 win percentage. They have 9 games behind the Thunder, 7-2 at home, 4-8 on the road, 3-1 in the division, 10-6 in the conference. They actually won their last game, but they went 5-5 in their last 10. They have been a team where you expect them to make the playoffs. You expect them to be a threat if they're healthy. Other than that, that's how their season's going to be, is just get to the playoffs because you're an older team, you're a veteran team, play good enough, continue to build enough chemistry, and just unleash y'all best lineups and y'all best play when the playoffs start. Like they're not really gonna try to go out and give everything they have in a regular season because they're just too old to be able to do that right now. But when it comes to still being a team that you have to watch out for, nobody's gonna beat the Warriors that easy. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be tough to do that, and that's what they're going to be, a tough out. And they're going to be a team that can, go against any one of the teams at the top and give them a challenge. The Grizzlies, they're 9-12. They have a 42 win percentage. They have been 11 games behind the Thunder now. 4-6 at home, 5-6 on the road, 4-2 in the division, 8-6 in the conference. They also won their last 3 games, making them 5-5. Ja Morant hasn't been on the court enough this season, and they still finding ways to get it done, even though they below 500. Cedric Howard has been a real good find for them as a player that can knock down shots and also be a floor spacer. Jaren Jackson is scoring in the paint and not just relying on his 3-point shot. Zach Edey is finally healthy, and he's been a good addition to have back. Jalen Wells is also showing you that he can be decent, but Pope has not been bad either. They're just a good team. They're not great. They're not amazing. They're not mind-blowing. They're not spectacular. They're not okay. They're not bad. When they're healthy, they're a good team, and that's all you really have to be a playing team. You can say the same thing about the Blazers. They have had a lot of guys out and a lot of guys injured that hasn't been able to play, and that has been right. They haven't been that great lately. They lost their last 2. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They're 8-12 record wise, and they have a 400 win percentage or 40%. 11 and a half games behind the Thunder. They're 3-6 at home, 5-6 on the road, 3-3 in the division, and 7-9 in the conference. So just a season where you look at it like, man, our coach is gone. We have a lot of guys that can't play for a long period of time, and we're still trying to go out there and win what we have. It just hasn't worked out for them that much. And then the rest of the teams are bad for various reasons. So let's go ahead and quickly go through them. Utah, no Walker Kessler, their best rebounder, their best rim protector. And they have a lot of young talent that really can shoot, can really score, can really put up numbers. But they haven't been able to do it as a team. Even on the defensive end, they need a lot more help there. And that has been a big reason why they've been losing. They can score, but they can't protect the rim. They can't stop other teams from scoring on them. And they also had guys that's been in and out of the lineup. And they have guys that's just not developed and can't really make winning plays enough to do it at a high enough level to win games. But the Jazz are 6-13. They have a 31 win percentage. They've been 13. They are 13 games back from the Thunder. They're 5-6 at home, 1-7 on the road, 0-4 in the division, 3-10 in the conference, and they lost their last game, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. Dallas, no AD, no Kyrie. Other guys like Gafford and Lively been beat up, toe up, and injured, so they haven't been able to put up none of their decent or great lineups out there, and that has resulted in them losing a lot. Although Cooper Flag has been playing better lately, it hasn't really been enough for them to have a better record than what they thought that they would have or have in general. They looking like they're going to be a team that's going to miss out on the play-in and possibly also miss out on the playoffs, which was a thing that most people didn't see, but we don't really know yet. So we have to see how things play out. But they're 6-15, 28% from 28% win percentage. They also are 14 games behind the Thunder, 4-9 at home, 2-5 on the road, 1-5 in the division, 3-10 in the conference. And they also are a team that won their last game, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. The Clippers, they have just been bad. Like Zubac, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden has been playing really well defensively, and they also been trying the hardest to keep up with teams and stay in front of the teams and try to close them out. It hasn't really worked. Other guys like John Collins and Chris Dunn have been solid support players. The bench hasn't gave them as much as they thought that they would, but they haven't really done enough on both ends of the court with as a team to have the wins come their way. But other than that, 5 wins, 15 losses, 25 percentage for the games that they lost and won. 14 games behind the Thunder, 3-7 at home, 2-8 on the road, 1-4 in the division, 4-9 in the conference. They lost 4 games in a row and 2-8 in their last 10 games. Sacramento Kings, they're 5-16 from 5-16 record wise, 23 win percentage. They have 15 games behind the Thunder. They're 3-7 at home, 2-9 on the road, 1-3 in the division, 4-14 in the conference. They lost their last 3. Sabonis has been out. That's one of the reasons why they haven't been able to win a lot. They have a lot of guys that really want to get their own shots and make their own plays. And it works because they're still putting up good numbers scoring the basketball, but they also giving up a lot of shots too, and they also allowing their opponents to make a lot of them, and that has put them in situations where if they can't keep up with them, they just lose the game for that reason. And the Kings, they have a lot of guys that know how to play the game, and they have a lot of guys that have won games and have helped franchises become good teams. But at the ages that they're at and at the way the style of play that they have been playing hasn't been able to be good enough or consistent enough on both ends of the court to be able to get wins. And now they sit as one of the worst teams in the Western Conference and just one of the worst teams in the NBA. And the Pelicans, they have fired their coach. They have had a lot of guys injured, a lot of guys in and out of the lineup. They don't have no rim protection. They also don't have no real perimeter defenders right now besides Herb Jones. And they also have been having guys that haven't been able to do much but be skill set players and that have locked them into a team that can't really score in multiple ways. And even when they do, they're giving up a lot of shots anyway. That has been helping them lose the games anyway. And then they also haven't been closing games good enough with their players and with the lineups they've been throwing out there. So that has actually helped them lose a lot of games too. But their 3 wins and 18 losses put them at a 14% win percentage in record wise. And then 17 games behind the Thunder. They're 2-9 at home, 1-9 on the road, 1-5 in the division, and 1-16 in the conference. And they lost 3 games in a row, and they're 1-9 in their last 10. The Kings are 2-8 in their last 10. The Clippers are also 2-8 in their last 10, and all of them been on a losing streak right now, and that's why they have had the worst records in the Western Conference. Other than that, thanks for checking out the channel. Comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell to get the analysis when it first come out. I also do conversation videos just like this, but about various NBA only topics. I also do breakdowns of real footage of legends, current legends, rookies, and also future stars. I also do mock draft and draft coverage, and I also, on top of that, have over 4,000 videos already on my channel that you can watch right now and enjoy, and it's all for free. And on top of that, I try to upload videos every day throughout the day to give y'all something to look forward to and something to watch when it comes to basketball NBA content. Not only that, thanks for watching, thanks for checking out the channel, thanks for the love, thanks for the respect, thanks for the support, thanks for appreciating the content for what it is and continuing to come back and enjoy it. And thank y'all for being, people that love me for who I am and enjoy what I do and how I do it. Other than that, I'm gone for now. Y'all stay blessed up. Peace. And I'll see you guys later today with more analysis on the games that's happening tonight.